There are 9 daily habits that are quietly harming your baby's brain, and child psychology research shows most parents are doing at least 3 of them right now without realizing it. I am not saying this to create guilt. I am saying this because once you understand what is happening inside your baby's brain, you cannot unsee it, and everything changes. Stay until habit 7. That one is in almost every home. Almost nobody talks about it, and it is affecting your baby's brain every single night. Before we go through these 9 habits, I want to say something important. Every single one of them makes complete sense in modern life. They are common because they are convenient, and because nobody told you differently. Child psychology research has now given us a clearer picture of what these habits do inside the developing brain when they repeat daily. That picture changes how ordinary moments feel, and that is exactly what this channel exists to do. Habit 1. Screen time before age 2. This is the most researched habit on this entire list, and what child psychology says is happening inside the developing brain goes deeper than most parents have ever been told. Before age 2, the visual cortex, the brain's visual processing center, and the prefrontal cortex, the brain's emotional regulation and focus center, are both in a critical development window. Screens deliver rapid, unpredictable visual stimulation at a pace the developing brain cannot process at the same rate as real-world experience. This disrupts the formation of sustained attention networks, the neural pathways that allow a child to focus on one thing for extended periods. But there is something even more important. Every minute a baby spends looking at a screen is a minute they are not engaged in serve and return interaction, the back and forth exchange between parent and baby that builds neural pathways faster than any other experience in early childhood. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends 0 screen time before 18 to 24 months, not because screens are harmful in some vague sense, because the developing brain has far more important work to do in those minutes. The action step? Replace 10 minutes of screen time today with direct face-to-face interaction. Your face, your expressions, your voice, your responses delivers more neurological stimulation for your baby's developing brain than any screen ever could. You are already the most powerful brain-building tool your baby has access to. Habit 2. Background TV noise during play. The TV is not even for the baby. It is just on in the background. But here is what child psychology shows us. The baby's brain does not know the difference. Babies cannot filter background noise the way adults can. Their auditory cortex, the brain's sound processing center, is still developing the ability to separate relevant sounds from irrelevant ones. So background TV is not background to a baby. It is primary input, competing directly with the parent's voice for the auditory cortex's attention. Research from the University of Massachusetts found that background TV reduces the quantity and quality of parent-child verbal interaction by up to 20%. Since language acquisition depends entirely on serve and return verbal exchange, and neural pathway building slows when that exchange is interrupted, background TV is quietly reducing your baby's language development window every single day it runs. The action step? Turn the TV off during playtime. Even 30 minutes of quiet play daily makes a measurable difference to language acquisition. Silence is not empty. For a developing brain, silence is a building environment. Habit 3. Responding to your baby's crying while you are stressed or anxious. And before you feel guilty about this, I want to be very clear. This does not make you a bad parent. It makes you human. Every parent does this. But child psychology shows us exactly what happens in the baby's nervous system when this pattern repeats, and why it matters. When you respond to a crying baby while your own nervous system is activated, elevated heart rate, shallow breathing, tense muscles, Your baby's nervous system reads all of it, instantly, through touch, through your heartbeat, through the rhythm of your breathing. The baby's amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, does not calm down when an activated nervous system arrives. It mirrors it. So the crying often escalates. Over time, when this pattern repeats daily, the baby's developing nervous system begins to associate the arrival of comfort with increased arousal, rather than decreased arousal. The co-regulation loop, the process where the baby borrows calm from the parent's nervous system, cannot complete. And an incomplete co-regulation loop, repeated daily, contributes to chronic stress dysregulation in a developing brain. The action step? The Mimamoru pause from Japanese parenting, 5 seconds before picking up. 1 slow breath, drop your shoulders, arrive calm. Your regulated nervous system is the most powerful calming tool your baby's developing brain has access to. We cover this fully in our Japanese Babies Cry Less video, linked in the description. Habit 4. Skipping tummy time because the baby protests. Most parents know tummy time matters for physical development, but the connection to cognitive development, to thinking and learning, is something child psychology rarely explains clearly. Tummy time directly develops the motor cortex, the brain's movement and coordination control center. But here is the deeper connection. The motor cortex and the cognitive development regions of the brain share neural resources in the first year of life. Research published in Developmental Psychology shows that motor development milestones directly predict cognitive development outcomes. A baby who consistently misses tummy time milestones shows measurable delays in spatial reasoning, problem solving, and coordination that can persist into early childhood. The vestibular system, the brain's balance and spatial awareness center, is also developed through tummy time. And vestibular development is directly connected to reading readiness and mathematical reasoning later in childhood. Tummy time is not just physical therapy. It is building the cognitive architecture your baby will learn with for life. The action step. 3 5-minute tummy time sessions daily. If the floor causes distress, start on your chest. Your heartbeat regulates your baby's nervous system, making tummy time on your chest neurologically easier for them to manage. Habit 5. Missing the sleep window and pushing through tired signals, thinking a more tired baby will sleep better. Child psychology and neuroscience both say the opposite is true, and the brain science behind why is something every parent needs to understand. When a baby misses their sleep window, the body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. That cortisol spike makes the brain more alert, more reactive, and significantly harder to settle. But the long-term impact goes deeper. Chronic sleep deprivation in infancy has been directly linked to reduced hippocampal volume in multiple research studies. The hippocampus, the brain's memory and learning center, consolidates the day's experiences during sleep. A baby who consistently misses sleep windows is not just overtired. They are missing the daily brain consolidation session that converts experience into learning. Research from Brown University found that infants with consistent sleep patterns showed stronger memory consolidation and emotional regulation outcomes compared to infants with fragmented or delayed sleep. The sleep window is not a preference. It is a neurological necessity. The action step? Watch for 3 tired signals: eye rubbing, losing interest in surroundings, and sudden quiet after activity. When you see any 2 together, you have approximately 10 minutes. Move immediately. Dim the lights, lower your voice, start the wind down before cortisol kicks in. Habit 6. Emotional dismissal. Saying, "You are fine. Stop crying. There is nothing to cry about." This is deeply rooted in how most of us were raised. We were told the same things. But child psychology research connecting early emotional dismissal to mental health outcomes later in life is some of the most important work happening in developmental science right now. When a baby's distress signal is consistently dismissed, told it is not valid, not worthy of response, the developing brain receives a repeated message about emotional experience. The insula, the brain region responsible for processing emotional awareness, internal body sensations, and empathy, develops in direct response to emotional validation in early life. When emotional signals are consistently dismissed, the insula receives a repeated message: your internal experience does not matter. Over time, this suppresses the development of emotional intelligence and interoceptive awareness, the ability to accurately read and respond to your own emotional and physical states. Research on early emotional dismissal shows a direct connection to adult mental health outcomes, including difficulty identifying emotions, chronic stress responses, and challenges with emotional regulation. The baby who is told their emotions are not valid becomes the adult who struggles to process their own. The action step. Instead of "you are fine," say, "I can see you are upset. I am here." 3 seconds. That acknowledgement directly supports insula development and tells the developing brain your emotional experience is real and it matters. That message, repeated daily, is one of the most powerful things you can give your child. Habit 7. This is the one I promised you at the start, the one in almost every home, the one almost nobody talks about. It is not complicated, it does not require expensive changes, but what it is doing to your baby's brain every single night, the child psychology and neuroscience behind it genuinely surprised me when I first researched it. It involves something so ordinary, most parents never think twice about it: light and your baby's sleep. Your baby's brain produces melatonin, the sleep hormone, only in response to darkness. There is a tiny but powerful structure in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Think of it as the brain's internal clock. It receives light signals directly from the eyes and uses those signals to decide whether to produce melatonin or suppress it. Here is what most parents do not realize. Even small amounts of light, a standard night light, the glow from a baby monitor screen, light coming under the door from the hallway, can suppress melatonin production in a baby's brain. And a baby's suprachiasmatic nucleus is significantly more sensitive to light than in adults because the system is still calibrating. So every night a baby sleeps in a room with any ambient light, even what feels like a tiny amount to you, the brain receives a signal that it is still daytime. Melatonin suppresses, the sleep signal weakens, sleep cycles fragment. The brain consolidation work that should happen during deep sleep gets interrupted every single night. The action step. Make your baby's sleep environment as dark as you can physically get it. Blackout blinds, covered monitor light, a towel under the door if hallway light enters. Test it. Stand in the room for 30 seconds after your eyes adjust. If you can see your own hand clearly, it is too bright. If safety is a concern, use a very dim red light only. Red wavelengths have the least impact on melatonin production of any light color. Habit 8. Constant overstimulation. More toys, more activities, more classes, more interaction. Modern parenting culture says more is better. But child psychology and the Japanese parenting research we covered in our first video both tell a different story. A baby's brain learns through processing, not just through exposure. When input is constant and unstructured, the brain cannot consolidate what it just experienced. It stays in a reactive state instead of a learning state. Neural pathways form shallowly rather than deeply. The brain needs quiet processing time, unstructured, unstimulated moments to convert experience into consolidated learning. Japanese parenting research confirms this. Periods of quiet and unstructured time are neurologically as important as active stimulation. A brain that never gets to process what it has experienced is a brain that is always reacting and never truly learning. The action step: 10 minutes of unstimulated quiet time daily. One simple object, no background noise, no screen, no organized activity. Let the brain process what it has already experienced. That quiet time is not wasted. It is when the learning actually happens. Habit 9. This one connects directly back to the Japanese Shinrin-yoku research from our first video, but from the opposite direction. What actually happens to the baby's brain and body when nature exposure is consistently missing? We know from Shinrin-yoku research that nature exposure reduces cortisol and builds sustained attention capacity. But what happens when a baby is consistently kept indoors? Cortisol baseline elevates. Sustained attention networks develop more slowly. And there is one finding most parenting content never covers. Research published in the International Journal of Immunology shows that phytocides, natural chemical compounds released by trees and plants, directly increase natural killer cell activity in the immune system. Babies isolated from nature have both higher cortisol baselines and lower immune resilience. Nature is not a luxury or a nice extra. For a developing brain and immune system, it is a biological necessity. Both are designed to receive. The action step: 20 minutes outside daily in any green space. A park, a garden, even a tree-lined street. Not structured, not educational, just present in nature. Your baby's brain and immune system are both designed to respond to it within minutes of exposure. 9 habits. Screen time before age 2. Background TV noise during play. Responding to crying while anxious. Skipping tummy time. Pushing through tired signals. Emotional dismissal. Light at night disrupting melatonin. Constant overstimulation and isolation from nature. None of these make you a bad parent. Every single one makes sense in modern life. But now you know what child psychology and neuroscience say is happening inside your baby's developing brain when these habits repeat. And that knowledge changes how ordinary moments feel. Which of these 9 are you changing first? Comment below, 1 through 9. I read every single comment. And if this helped you see your baby differently, share it with one parent who needs to hear this. For the habits that build your baby's brain instead of harm it, our Japanese Parenting Secrets video covers the 5 most powerful ones. Link is in the description. Subscribe for weekly baby brain development and child psychology science. I will see you in the next one.